As I was walking on the overpass, I encountered a fortune teller. He told me I had a strong horoscope and would live to be 99. I looked at the height of the overpass and immediately jumped down. With a destiny like that, who'd still bother living normally? When they pulled me out, the rescuer asked why I jumped. I spat out water and told him, "The fortune teller said I have good luck and will live for 99 years. His face was utterly speechless. I sat on the bank, surrounded by a curious crowd. Some dispersed once they saw I was fine. My name is Ethan. I'm a Taoist priest. Recently, there have been many cases of young women in wedding dresses jumping into the river. My stunt today, jumping off the bridge, was a way to investigate why these girls are doing it. It's not really our responsibility, but a few days ago, a wealthy businessman unexpectedly showed up at our door. He carried a huge stack of cash and looked incredibly arrogant. My daughter also jumped into the river in her wedding dress a few days ago. After being rescued, she fell into a coma. I asked a master to look at her, and they said her soul was trapped by the river god. You're skilled, perhaps you can find a way to free her. The rich businessman pushed the money towards me. I looked at his arrogant face and let out a cold snort. With an attitude like that when asking for help, I wouldn't take 1,000,000 yuan. Then I changed my tune. Just kidding, I'll compromise for money. I enjoy exorcising evil spirits. The wealthy businessman, pleased, handed me a wad of cash. I too smiled contentedly as I accepted it. Excellent! A voice pulled me from my thoughts. A nosy old woman asked me, "Young man, did you jump into the river because the river god is taking a wife?" I glanced at her, fumbled for a lollipop in my hand, unwrapped it, and asked her, "Is that so? Do you know why my great-uncle lived to be 99? The old woman's eyes lit up. Why? Because he didn't meddle in other people's business. Oh, you! The old woman glared, then stooped and walked away. A river god taking a wife? This dilapidated river hasn't had a river god in ages, it's just a polluted puddle. I stood on the bank, sighing as I gazed at the filthy, bubbling river water. The moment I stepped into the river, I heard someone sigh right next to my ear. I touched my arm, already numb from the wind, and from the sound, it seemed to be a man. I turned around and went home. Once home, I took a hot shower, ate instant noodles, and began investigating the girls who had jumped into the river over the past few days. Without exception, they had all gone into the water wearing wedding dresses. Once soaked, the dresses became heavy, pulling them straight down, so they drowned without anyone knowing. The wealthy businessman's daughter, Hannah, was the only one rescued after jumping, but she remained in a coma. After finishing my noodles, I got up and went out. I scanned a public bicycle and headed to the hospital where the wealthy businessman's daughter was located. Following the address, I arrived at a luxurious private room. As I entered the patient's room, I felt an odd sensation. The room was dark and backlit. Even though it was midday, a chill ran down my spine as I stepped in. "Master, you're here?" The wealthy businessman sat on a chair by the bedside. Hannah lay on the bed, peaceful as if she were dead. I was startled by this thought. She's been like this since being rescued. The doctors have checked her, all her vitals are normal, but she just won't wake up, the businessman explained, motioning for me to come take a look. As soon as I saw her lifeless face, I pressed my finger to a spot and realized it was empty. No need. Your daughter has lost one of her 3 souls and 6 spirits. The wealthy businessman nodded. Yes, the previous master I found said her soul was trapped by the river god and told me to seek you out. May I presumptuously ask, what was the name of this master you found? Trapped by the river god? There's no river god in that river at all, and they made me drink that filthy river water. Elara. As soon as I heard that name, I was about to unleash a string of curses, but the words that came out of my mouth changed. Quite an impressive figure, not bad at all. Tell me your daughter's birth characters, and tonight I will attempt a soul-summoning ritual to see if I can call her back. The wealthy businessman nodded, took out a piece of paper, wrote down her birth characters, and handed it to me. I looked it over and understood. Her destiny palace is afflicted by the 7 killing star. This girl was certainly destined for this calamity. That evening, I called Elara. This river is too dirty. I'm not sure if the soul I'm calling back will truly be Hannah, so I called you. Elara, though seemingly unreliable, was actually a pure Yang-destined Taoist specializing in defeating evil spirits. She sat trembling in the minivan. "No, big brother, I gave you such a big case, why are you still involving me?" I prepared the soul-summoning equipment and told her. "Thanks to your blessings, I almost choked to death in this filthy river." Elara rolled her eyes. "I didn't know there was no river god, nor do I know how to divine. I ignored her, arranged everything in order, and called the wealthy businessman. I need you to prepare your daughter's hair. Are you ready? He nodded and gave it to me. I took it and signaled for him to stand by the riverbank. Soon, I will light the spirit guiding lamp. You hold your daughter's clothes. I'll ask if Hannah has returned. You'll say she has, understood. The wealthy businessman nodded, held the clothes, and walked to the river. I watched the time. It was almost midnight. I bowed my head, holding the yellow talisman in my hand. Zhu Rong's fire needle. The yellow talisman instantly burst into flames. I placed it in the censer, wrapped Hannah's hair in a red cloth, and set it above the censer. Before me was a command tablet. 3 souls, 7 spirits, quickly return. After reciting the incantation, I used my finger to draw a soul-summoning talisman on the hair, then shouted, "Has Hannah returned?" The wealthy businessman stood by the riverbank, walking and shouting, "She has returned." I continued to shout, "Has she returned?" After repeating it 5 times, I saw a few wisps of white smoke behind the wealthy businessman. I glanced at Elara in the car. Though frightened, she bravely said, "The 7 gates are all locked. Quickly invite the elder lord to hook the souls." As soon as she finished speaking, the white smoke quickly flew into the censer. I immediately covered it with the red cloth and called to the wealthy businessman. "It's almost done. Hurry back to the hospital to guide the soul in." The wealthy businessman covered 3 steps in 2, leaping straight into the driver's seat of the minivan, not forgetting to grab me. "Come on, hurry up, my stuff." I groaned. "What?" The wealthy businessman promised. "I'll give you 20,000 yuan. I fell silent. This was a profitable transaction. Money truly is good. People can do anything they want with it. Upon arriving at the hospital, I was pulled into the patient's room by the wealthy businessman. Elara slowly followed behind. Inside the room, I uncovered the red cloth from the censer, and 2 wisps of white smoke flew into Hannah's body. Hannah frowned. The wealthy businessman exclaimed, "Is she waking up?" I put on a profound air. "Yes, you certainly are capable." Hannah opened her eyes, looked at the wealthy businessman, then at me, her gaze finally resting on Elara. The wealthy businessman quickly stepped forward and took her hand. Hannah said, "Bakik, let's go catch SpongeBob together." Her deep baritone voice sent shivers down my spine. Damn it, what filthy thing did I bring back? Elara was the first to react, rushing forward and quickly covering Hannah's mouth. The wealthy businessman pointed at Hannah. This. I quickly pulled him away. "If you're not Big Brother, then who are you?" I signaled for Elara to let go. "I am Hannah." Another deep baritone voice, combined with Hannah's lowly-like face, gave me goosebumps, but the most distraught person was the wealthy businessman. "No, daughter, what's wrong with your voice?" Hannah bowed her head and chuckled shyly. "Oh, Dad." I couldn't help but cover her mouth. "If you make any more inappropriate sounds like that, I will make your soul scatter." Hannah blinked in disappointment. Elara rolled her eyes and sat at the foot of the bed. I found a chair and sat down, motioning for the wealthy businessman, who was nervously stamping his feet, to calm down. "I know you're in a hurry, but don't rush. If you're really in a hurry, go to the bathroom." The wealthy businessman turned and went into the restroom. "He's gone," I said. "Tell me what's going on." "I am the river god. My home was stolen. Help me take revenge, get my home back, and I will appoint you as Prime Minister of the Water Realm." After he finished speaking, I said, "Wait a minute, I'll give you a big claw later, believe it or not." Hannah pouted. "I am the river god. I was sealed away by someone. Yesterday, when you, Ethan, jumped into the river, the 5 emperor coins on your person broke my seal. Then I don't know what happened, but you called me into this girl's body." I turned my head to look at Elara, whose face showed delight. "Oh, I inadvertently helped Ethan break the river god's seal." "All right, she's hit on the key point. If you are the river god, then who is impersonating the river god to capture souls?" I asked. He shook his head. "I don't know either. I only came back with you because I wanted to find out about this." From the bathroom, the sound of flushing echoed, and the wealthy businessman emerged with a dejected expression. "So you're not my daughter, but the river god?" He had been eavesdropping. I was about to open my mouth to explain when he suddenly laughed. "Oh, Lord River God, I've admired you for a long time. Do you think I'll have good business luck sometime soon?" I looked at Elara, who held her forehead and gave a wry smile. "He's from Guangdong, please understand." The river god silently said, "I may be the river god, but I'm not the god of wealth." The light in the wealthy businessman's eyes faded. Through our efforts, the wealthy businessman finally realized that his daughter's well-being was more important than getting rich. "My daughter isn't dead, is she?" The wealthy businessman cried out. The river god comforted him. No, deities cannot inhabit dead bodies. The fact that I could enter proves your daughter is not dead. Wealthy businessman, that's wonderful. If you find my daughter, I'll give you a gold-plated statue. The river god burst into tears, his face wet. Thank you, my most devoted worshipper. The wealthy businessman scratched his head. I believe in the Taoist river god. I rolled my eyes and looked out the window, pulling a compass from my chest. There's still time, I asked. How long has your daughter been in a coma? The wealthy businessman replied, 4 days. A soul cannot remain separated from its body for more than 7 days. Beyond that, it cannot return. I held the compass in my hand, pulling a strand of Hannah's hair. 3 souls, 7 spirits, the power of life and death is in my hands. Ethan, by ancestral command, summon the spirits. The needle on the compass paused for a second, then began to spin wildly, finally stopping at the Kun position, southwest. After determining the direction, I immediately hugged a sleepy Elara, stood up, and went out. The river god, seeing this, followed. The wealthy businessman also wanted to come along. I advised him, it's very dangerous, you shouldn't go. The wealthy businessman turned his head. I won't listen, I'm worried about my daughter. I was about to say more, but Elara chimed in, if you come, you'll easily lose money. The wealthy businessman stopped. Elara continued, and you'll be separated from your daughter. He drew his foot back, saying, 2 masters, Lord River God, go slowly, I won't see you off. Good, very good, a true businessman. Following the directions, the 3 of us left the hospital. On the way, the river god sat solemnly in the minivan. I held the steering wheel and asked, something on your mind? The river god looked out the window. Look at the moonlight. A blood-red moon hangs high in the sky. Before I could look more closely, Elara shrieked. Ethan, brake. I slammed on the brakes, and the car stopped 1 meter from a woman in a red dress. Under the headlights, her face was pale, utterly devoid of blood. What's wrong? Elara's voice trembled. I frowned, fearing a ghost blocking our way. The red-clothed female ghost was completely drenched, water dripping from her. She lifted her head, and a drop of blood fell from the corner of her eye. She seemed to be trying to say something. Seeing me stop, she turned and flew dozens of meters ahead. Seeing this, I drove the car in the direction she was flying, seemingly southwest. The car left the city, heading towards the outskirts. The surroundings became increasingly desolate. How much further do we have to go? Elara huddled fearfully in a corner of the car. The blood moon above my head grew redder. It was not a good sign. The river god leaned against the window, closing his eyes to compose himself. The female ghost led me to a wooden house and then vanished. The river god and I exchanged glances, then got out of the car to investigate. Elara sat curled up in the car seat, holding a thunder talisman in her hand. Wait for me, everyone, take me with you? As soon as she finished speaking, a cat meowed from the roadside. She leaped from the car onto my back in fright, her hands clutching my neck tightly. Big brother, you're going to choke me to death. I used force to pull her off. Elara grabbed my hand, cautiously looking around. Before we knew it, we had reached the front door of the wooden house. This wooden house was a little strange. Bronze mirrors hung on all 4 sides, along with many talismans on the door. I took out my phone and turned on the flashlight. As soon as I saw the talismans, cold sweat broke out. These were soul-summoning talismans. Generally, normal talismans are used for exorcism, but if reversed, they become soul-summoning talismans. And if soul-summoning talismans are attached to a door, the entire house becomes a haven for hundreds of ghost souls. How about we go back first? Elara had clearly seen the talismans too. If we rush into the wooden house at this moment, if there are no ghosts or only a few, it's fine. But if there's a larger evil spirit, all 3 of us will die here. Thinking this, I whispered, let's go back for now and return during the day. The river god and Elara nodded, and the 3 of us retreated. As I left, I saw the red-clothed female ghost through the window again. She gave me a strange smile. I drove around 4 or 5 times, only to find myself back at the wooden house. The blood moon overhead grew redder and redder. Feeling uneasy, I parked the car in an empty lot 100 meters from the wooden house. Are we caught in a ghost's wall? The river god looked around. Elara, sitting in the back, nodded. This time, she rarely cowered. I'm afraid it's more than that, she said. We've encountered a red malevolent spirit. After Elara spoke, she glanced at me, motioning for me to look out the car window. I saw a blood mist rising around us. This mist was different from ordinary fog. It was composed of extremely fine, visible red blood particles. I reached out my hand. The blood particles stuck to my hand, quickly condensed into bloodstains, and then slid off my hand. What is a red malevolent spirit? The river god was confused. I pulled my hand back and extended it in front of the river god for him to see. There are two types of resentment: red resentment and white resentment. White resentment is formed by a normal death where a wish hasn't been fulfilled. Generally, it dissipates when the wish is granted. Red resentment is formed by an unnatural death and an unfulfilled wish. These generally need to be rescued, and once rescued, they disappear. I paused and looked out the window. There's also a type called crimson resentment, also a form of red resentment, which is the result of an unnatural death and a destroyed soul, leaving only one soul and one spirit desperately seeking revenge. This is crimson resentment, also known as a red malevolent spirit. Generally, when a red malevolent spirit forms, there must be death, otherwise it's difficult to dispel the resentment. The river god visibly recoiled. There must be death. He glanced at the two of us. Among the three of us, who will die? Elara and I exchanged amused glances. Among the three of us, we don't even know you. What do you think? He pursed his lips, speechless. Big brother, I am the river god. I naturally have a catalyst. I cannot die. You two pray for yourselves. I took a piece of paper and wiped my hand clean. Because the fog was getting thicker, we couldn't drive anymore, so we had to hide in the car. Fortunately, Elara's minivan was large enough with plenty of food in it. I glanced at the time. It was just past midnight. First, let's assess the situation. This red malevolent spirit certainly isn't coming for us. As soon as I finished speaking, the compass needle in my hand began to spin rapidly. The needle finally stopped, pointing towards the wooden house. Not good. Hannah's soul is in that wooden house? At this moment, Hannah's body also began to show abnormalities. The remaining 2 souls and 6 spirits began to take control. The river god's soul was pushed out. Damn it! A flash of white light, Hannah's remaining soul pushed the river god's soul out. He sat next to Hannah, completely transparent. The other souls in Hannah's body were screaming, trying to escape. Seeing this, I immediately used the soul sealing technique to seal the remaining souls in her body. What's happening? Elara held tightly to a struggling Hannah, looking up to ask me. I don't know, but it's definitely related to these girls jumping into the river. I watched Hannah struggle, raised my hand, and struck her directly on the back of the neck, causing Hannah to pass out. I tossed the 5 emperor coins to Elara. Take these, let's go to that wooden house. She recoiled in fear. I grabbed her, opened the car door, and stepped out. The river god flew after us, the blood mist around us clinging to our bodies, the smell of blood filling my entire nasal cavity. Elara, unable to resist, pulled out her peachwood sword and said, I am the head of the Elara family in Beidao. There's no one behind me. I belong to my family. I hope my ancestors can help me. Her peachwood sword immediately emitted a golden light, and the blood mist instantly recoiled, leaving a circular space with Elara at its center. The smell of blood significantly diminished, and we walked towards the wooden house. As soon as we reached the door, I heard women crying from inside. Elara suppressed her fear, bit her finger, and tiptoed to smear blood on the soul-summoning talisman. Ah! The talisman shattered instantly, and a powerful force rushed out, opening the door. I reacted quickly, pulling Elara aside to dodge. All right, I almost got killed. Elara's voice was a little choked up. Since the river god was now a spirit, he was unaffected. He walked into the house, exclaiming in surprise, Why is my body here? I quickly pulled Elara through the door, stunned by the sight before us. The entire room was covered in soul-summoning banners. The surrounding windows were pasted with dark red paper. If you looked closely, you could see that the red color of these papers was due to absorbed blood. In the center of the room lay a corpse. He wore clothes from the Republic of China era. His appearance was identical to the river god beside me, and strange totems surrounded the corpse. This is the soul-summoning art. I looked at the totems and immediately recognized them. Totems, or totem poles, were worshipped by primitive tribes as protective gods or their origins. This is using a dead girl to turn her into a vengeful spirit, to create a red malevolent spirit, and using the soul-summoning art to revive him. This is a sinister method requiring the sacrifice of dozens of girls to complete. Elara tried to suppress her fear, gripping my arm tightly. He's not the river god, he's a ghost. The river god was also startled by Elara's sudden reaction and took a step back. No, I truly am the river god. I've been in that river for as long as I can remember. I guarded that river for decades until I was sealed by someone, then you jumped into the river. He quickly explained. I looked deeply at the river god, saying nothing, and turned to search for Hannah's soul in this house. I remembered that ancient texts state a girl's soul is yin and a boy's soul is yang. Yin and yang attract each other. To attract yin, one needs yang, and to attract yang, one needs yin. Therefore, Hannah's soul and the souls of the other girls who jumped were definitely here. Elara pointed at the totems on the ground and said, "Destroy the soul-summoning talismans and see if we can find any trapped souls." I nodded, bit my finger, and dripped blood onto the totems. The totems, which had been emitting a dark light, became much darker. The entire house is shaking and about to collapse because of my actions. The soul summoner has sealed the souls underground. If we try to destroy it, the house will collapse. After saying this, I looked at Elara. When she heard this, her eyes immediately turned red. "If we get crushed to death, remember to invite my master to collect my soul." After she finished speaking, determined to die, she bit her finger and dropped blood onto the totem. The totem became completely dark, the surrounding walls cracked, and countless vengeful spirits escaped from the walls. The room, without the support of the vengeful spirits, immediately turned to dust, not collapsing but dissolving. "I was just trying to scare you," I said. "This house was originally a paper house, merely disguised by a trick. The living live in stone or wooden houses, but the dead live in paper houses. So, houses used to seal souls are all made of paper, and can only be made of paper." All right, you scoundrel Ethan, you're scaring me." After she cursed, she looked around and immediately let out a pig-like shriek. "Ah! Does anyone understand that my team has an incredibly powerful female Taoist with a pure yang destiny, yet she's afraid of ghosts?" Vengeful spirits were everywhere. They gathered together, forming a red malevolent spirit. "Wrongs have a head, debts have a master. You've come to the wrong people." Elara was so scared she wished she could beat them. I was speechless. If they really wanted our lives, we would have died 800 times over. "What the hell is going on?" I asked the river god in a low voice. He was on the side trying to re-enter his body, but seeing it was useless, he gave up. "I don't know either." Around us, the blood mist grew thicker and thicker, and the ground was covered in bloodstains. 3 red-clothed vengeful spirits gathered, all young women in the prime of their youth. Their entire bodies were covered in blood, bleeding from all 7 orifices, and they were all wearing wedding attire. Not good. The totems are not just carved on the ground, but also on their bodies. I noticed that everyone had a totem on their hands. These were carved onto them with ghostly energy when they were alive and remained on their souls after death. "You truly know nothing, do you?" I was suspicious of the river god. Judging from the corpse in the wooden house, this soul-summoning art was clearly used to revive him. The river god anxiously said, "I truly know nothing. I swear if I'm hiding anything, may divine thunder strike me down." All right, I believe you. The oaths of gods and ghosts are always true. It seems he really didn't do it. The red-clothed vengeful spirits began to surround us, emitting piercing screams. Elara took out her peach wood sword. Her peach wood sword glowed golden. "Should we try to break out?" As soon as she finished speaking, a piercing scream erupted from where we had parked the car. It was Hannah's voice. The surrounding vengeful spirits vanished after this scream. I rushed to the minivan, but it was already too late. Hannah's entire soul had been taken. The soul-sealing talisman was shattered into pieces. "Damn it!" I cursed, suddenly thought of something, and quickly ran back to the river god's original body. He lay there, eyes closed, still in the same posture as before. I moved his corpse into the car and said to the river god, "Tell me everything you remember." The river god was silent for a few seconds, then slowly said, "I only remember my name is Arthur, a man from the Republic of China era. I drowned in the river, then woke up at the bottom of the river, then became the river god, always guarding the river. Until 10 years ago, I was sealed by a powerful force, and then you jumped into the river. The 5 emperor coins on your person helped me break the seal." "You grasped the key to the seal?" He nodded. "A very powerful force." "I don't know what's happening." I looked at Arthur's original body. A clearly drawn totem was on the back of his hand, but it seemed to have been destroyed by someone, and its color was somewhat gray. Elara, who had been silent on the side, suddenly spoke. "I know this totem." She glanced at Arthur and said, "I saw this totem before when I participated in a supernatural reality show. This is a soul-binding seal, a dark art. It requires 5 emperor coins and a male with a 7 killings destiny to break the seal. I mean, there's really no need to emphasize male." Elara finished speaking, then seemed to think of something. "Ah, I didn't mean you, Ethan." The more she explained, the worse it sounded. I simply ignored her and continued examining the body. As I reached out to open his mouth and look inside, a sudden chill permeated the air. "Stop!" a voice rang out. The voice was hoarse and sharp, as if torn from a throat. I looked up and saw a figure step out from the shadows. He had a pale blue face, dark eyes, relatively delicate facial features, but his body was stiff, and a deathly aura emanated from him. It turned out to be the one-hearted ghost. "Who are you? How dare you touch Arthur's body?" With that, he suddenly lunged at me. 7 killings, just in time to be the guide for my soul-summoning art. The one-hearted ghost squeezed my neck with both hands. Seeing this, Elara on the side quickly raised her peach-wood sword and slashed him. With one strike, a large gash appeared on his hand, and black smoke billowed from within. How should I put it? A pure yang destiny truly is amazing. He released his grip in pain, taking a step back. I didn't expect to find Taoists with pure yang destinies in a small place like this. He sneered, "Since that's the case, why not experience a little of the 100 Ghosts Night Parade?" As soon as he finished speaking, the ground near our feet began to loosen, and pale hands emerged from within. They waved and grabbed at everything around, pulling whatever they could down. Elara screamed in fright, "Jump on my back. This is the one-hearted ghost's own cultivation. Let's call Yao Ruo." Elara's face was mournful. Yao Ruo was our junior sister. She had a pure yin destiny and was also a descendant of the ghost Emperor Shen too. She could stop evil spirits. "I'm afraid not." I put Elara down from my back. "The magnetic field here is disturbed. No messages can be sent." She grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "Then what should we do? That's the one-hearted ghost?" I sighed. "There's no other way. Let's just try once. Don't worry, I'll definitely protect you." Elara trembled all over, still not forgetting to complain about me. "Forget it, you'd better protect yourself first." Countless corpses burst from the ground and vengeful spirits rushed towards us. Elara closed her eyes and choked out, "Lord of Thunder, help me. By the command of the 5 thunders, bring forth lightning." A bolt of lightning struck, instantly blowing apart the corpses scattered across the ground. The red-clothed, vengeful spirits dared not approach. Seeing this, I immediately pressed my fingers and chanted an incantation. "Zhu Rong's rootless fire, ignite!" Fire began to burn larger on the ground. The one-hearted ghost saw this and lunged straight towards us. Elara and I quickly moved away, but Arthur behind us couldn't dodge in time and even faced him directly. "Arthur!" The one-hearted ghost, after clearly seeing Arthur's face, suddenly stopped. His ghostly energy backfired, a hole appeared in his stomach, and a streak of black gas escaped. Arthur looked up at the one-hearted ghost. "You know me?" The one-hearted ghost suddenly burst into tears, embracing Arthur. "After more than 60 years, I finally meet you again." Elara and I were very confused, but our instincts told us there was some juicy gossip to be had. "I don't know you." Arthur struggled to break free from his embrace. The one-hearted ghost anxiously grabbed Arthur's hand. "I'm Oliver, don't you remember me?" Arthur still shook his head. Oliver disappointedly let go of his hand. He looked at Arthur and said, "No wonder I couldn't call your soul back. It turns out you became the river god. Since that's the case, then forget it." He gave a bitter smile, waved his hand, and the 100 Ghosts Night Parade vanished. Those vengeful spirits, due to the dissipation of their ghostly energy, gradually returned to their normal forms. These vengeful spirits were all young girls enticed by the one-hearted ghost to jump into the river. After the one-hearted ghost dissipated, they naturally transformed into ordinary souls. Hannah's soul also flew out. Although I still didn't understand what was happening, I quickly put Hannah's soul into the sealed container. The blood moon above my head gradually returned to its normal color. Arthur looked at the surrounding changes and suddenly looked at Oliver. "Can you tell me who you are to me?" He paused, then said, "I think we must have known each other." Oliver heard this and smiled frankly at him. "We don't know each other." After saying this, Arthur seemed relieved. "If that's the case, then go to reincarnation." He turned to look at me. "Can a one-hearted ghost reincarnate?" I nodded. "Letting go of attachment is all it takes." I lied to him. The one-hearted ghost had too much karma. All those innocent girls who jumped into the river were drawn in by him. After he let go of his attachment, his soul scattered. Arthur heard this and told Oliver, "I'm living very well, you go now." As soon as he finished speaking, Oliver smiled, began to dissipate, and finally turned into a wisp of black smoke. After Oliver disappeared, Arthur's original body quickly decayed, finally disappearing completely. The last chains on Arthur's body had vanished. He was completely freed from the seal and became a deity. "You actually remembered everything, didn't you?" I asked. Arthur smiled. "We all deceived each other. Everyone knows in their hearts, why ask so clearly?" My heart trembled. He knew that Oliver couldn't reincarnate. Elara finally reacted at this moment. Were we being used? I nodded, glaring at Arthur. This river god had long ago realized something was wrong. After knowing I could break seals, he pretended to have amnesia. He relied on Hannah's body, then told us to come here, using our hands to lure out the one-hearted ghost, and finally made him let go of his attachment and leave. Only the red-clothed vengeful spirits were arranged by the river god. After saying this, I looked at Arthur, who nodded smugly. Yes, I said with a cold laugh, but I want to know, now that he's gone, aren't you sad? Arthur looked in the direction where the one-hearted ghost had disappeared, calmly saying, "To become a god, one must be like this. 6 senses purified. I have nothing to be sad about. His departure is the best release." With that, he vanished before we could clearly see his expression. Perhaps he is crying at the bottom of the river now. I carried the sealed container to Elara's minivan. Hannah was still inside, so I opened Hannah's mouth and signaled for Elara to open the sealed container so Hannah's soul could fly in. Elara and I drove her back to the hospital. On the way, Hannah woke up. She looked at us in surprise. "Why am I here? Where's my dad?" Elara said. "Your dad is waiting for you at the hospital." After Hannah clearly saw Elara's face, she screamed wildly, "Elara, I really like you. Let's take a picture together. Oh, and an autograph." I shook my head helplessly, almost forgetting that Elara was a celebrity. Hannah's old father was very grateful to us for helping Hannah wake up and added another $1,000,000 to the original $1,000,000. Elara and I split it evenly. Elara was very curious about Arthur's true identity, so she launched an investigation. Finally, I heard the names Arthur and Oliver from the mouth of an old man. He recounted, "When I was young, there was a pair of brothers in the village. They came from the countryside and had a very good relationship, spending all day together. As time went on, the villagers felt it was strange, but it was hard to say anything. Later, someone spread the rumor that they were living together. Someone in the village actually broke into their house and discovered that they were indeed a couple. 2 men together, how disgusting. Those people cursed them. Even the villagers who used to be friendly with them started shouting insults. Finally, they had a few young men tie one of them up and drown him in the river." The old man wiped away tears as he spoke. "Those 2 brothers were very good people. They often helped other villagers with farm work, carried water, and bought candy for us children. How could those people do that? After one died, the other went mad and stayed by the river every day for decades." "Elara, do you remember their names?" The old man sighed. "Their names were Arthur and Oliver." After learning this, I was at a loss for words. Arthur died in the river, his love ultimately severed, and became the river god. And Oliver, because of his deep obsession, became a one-hearted ghost. He even killed many innocent girls to revive Arthur. If Oliver hadn't harmed anyone, perhaps they could have been together forever. Unfortunately, there are no ifs, and there was bound to be tragedy between them. End epilogue. In our village, there was a madman named Oliver. Day and night, he guarded the river at the village's edge, paying no mind to anyone. When others spoke to him or offered him food, he wouldn't speak or eat. I thought perhaps he didn't like food, so I secretly saved a chicken drumstick my grandmother had given me and offered it to him. He merely glanced at me gently, said nothing, and refused to eat the drumstick. I was so angry I wanted to kick him, but he grabbed my ankle. "What? You don't want to eat and you want to kick people? You're a child with a terrible temper?" This was the first thing he ever said to me. It turned out he wasn't mute. I was embarrassed and wanted to pull my leg away, but the man held me back. He looked stunned as he gazed at the birthmark on my leg. There was a black and blue birthmark on my left ankle, as if something had constricted it. He asked my age in a trembling voice. I tilted my head and looked at him. "I'm 8 years old." He suddenly made a face as if he was crying without crying and embraced me. If there truly is reincarnation, Arthur would be 8 this year. As Oliver finished speaking, tears streamed down his face. I was so scared I didn't dare make a sound. After a long while, he stopped crying and asked my name. I thought for a moment and told him, "My name is Crane. Crane Hack. My mother wanted me to be as free as a crane, unbound by worldly constraints. She believed this life was too difficult. We had to live as we pleased to be truly well." Oliver nodded. "That's a good name. Can you come visit me often from now on? I'll buy you delicious food." I happily agreed. Later, I occasionally went to play with him. Each time I came, he was very happy and gave me many candies. The village children told me that the man was abnormal, liked men, and urged me not to go near him. I angrily shouted back. As a result, those children started punching and kicking me. Fortunately, Oliver appeared and chased those annoying children away from me. He seemed like a hero. Oliver stroked my head and asked, "Are you scared?" I shook my head. "I'm not scared. Because I know you will definitely protect me." When Oliver heard these words, his hands stiffened in midair. I looked up at him, a grown man crying on the road. I didn't know what to do for a moment, so I gently hugged him. Months passed, and Oliver also changed a lot, gradually talking more and smiling more. The two of us seemed like friends forever, with countless topics to discuss. Only occasionally, when he was tired, would he gaze at me in a daze and quietly shed tears. Later, I grew up and was preparing to get married. When Oliver learned of this, he trembled as he came to my house. I realized then that he had grown very old. He took a stack of money from his pocket and handed it to me. "This is my savings from many years. You can use it to marry your wife." I quickly waved my hand. "I can't take it," he sternly insisted. "I have no relatives. After I die, my belongings will be divided by others. It's best if I give them to you." That, he stuffed the money into my hand, clasped his hands behind his back, and left. I held the money, feeling a mix of emotions. I got married and left the village, never seeing Oliver again. Then I received a call from home saying he had died, sick in bed. Upon learning the news, I quickly took leave and returned. Oliver had no relatives, so after his death, the villagers perfunctorily bought him a cheap coffin and buried him behind the mountain. I walked back despairingly from the mountain. On the way, I met the village elder who handed me a diary. He said it was Oliver's last possession. There was nothing in the diary but a single photograph. In the photo was a very handsome man, and a name was written on the back, Arthur. I was stunned but still pretended indifference and asked the village elder, "Who is Arthur?" The elder heard this, glanced at the photo, then scoffed. "Arthur? That man who was with Oliver? Disgusting." When they were together, the atmosphere of our entire village was ruined. When we went to other villages, they would all point at us. He recounted how Arthur was tied up by some villagers and stoned to death in the river. After speaking, he spat. Such a rat dropping, spoiling the whole pot of porridge. I suddenly remembered Oliver once asking my age and saying, "If there truly is reincarnation, Arthur would be 8 this year." I actually don't believe in reincarnation. I just thought Oliver and Arthur had it too hard. I put away the photo, said goodbye to the village elder, and rushed home. My parents were also very surprised when I arrived. After I explained why I returned, they sighed. Oliver was a pitiful soul, too. That night, I lay in bed and had a long dream. In the dream, Arthur became the river god and Oliver became a ghost. They were still not together. I don't believe in fate, but if there is such a thing, then let Oliver and Arthur be together.